Welcome, bros and brosifines. My name's Albrecht von Stollen, and today I'll be talking about my country on Halloween. Why? Because Halloween is fast approaching, and I want to show a certain fact about Halloween as it relates to my country. Before any weirdness, let's go! When I was a little boy, I wanted to celebrate Halloween. As this is here in the Philippines, most of the Halloween stuff, namely the trick or treat and parties, were done in wealthy gated subdivisions and malls. Prior to the current unmentionable, large Halloween parties were organized by Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and even the Disney Channel with the cooperation of the various malls such as Robinsons and Shoe Mart. Given how Halloween has scary costumes, this has caused many a Filipino evangelical and even some Catholics to attack Halloween as demonic. A few years ago, I had attended a mass close to Halloween where the priest told the parents in attendance, during homily no less, to, quote, not let your kids dress up as little demons, end quote. Is Halloween demonic? That would be a no, and I'll link 4 videos which talk about how Halloween is a Catholic observance in the description below. Halloween is an American celebration brought to the Philippines as a result of American pop culture influencing Filipino culture. Before I continue, I'll go into a disclaimer. I am not attacking Halloween as a celebration as it's a Catholic thing, nor am I attacking the Americans for that matter. Rather, I am simply showing my experience with the holiday here in the Philippines along with how the Philippines has its own folk traditions which came before Halloween. Back to the video. Because of Halloween hype, horror-themed shows and films became the norm, alongside how fast food restaurants such as McDonald's and Jollibee decided to go for Halloween themes before and on October 31st. Cable TV channels had their own Halloween specials alongside the standard TV channels. One such special was the film The Halloween Tree, which aired on Cartoon Network. I saw this film when I was a teen on cable more than a few times every Halloween, and while it was entertaining, something is quite odd in this. While that film talked about Halloween and its various analogs throughout history and across the world, I found that it's kinda lacking. For one, it doesn't have the Hungry Ghost Festival from China, the Bon Festival from Japan, nor the Filipino custom of Pangangaluluwa. That being said, the Halloween Tree is made for kids, and as such, it is not an exhaustive film about Halloween and its various analogs throughout history and the world. As I am living here in the Philippines, I am here to talk about the Filipino custom of Pangangaluluwa that I have briefly mentioned earlier. The word Pangangaluluwa is a Tagalog word which literally translates to souling. This is not to be confused with the English custom called souling, which has its origins in the Middle Ages wherein Halloween is a small and very colorful part of. The custom of Pangangaluluwa had already been a thing before the arrival of the Spaniards 500 years ago. All the Spanish did was Christianize it, which I'll go talk about in a bit. As the Philippines is part of the Catholic world, there are 2 solemnities that are done in November. All Saints' Day, which takes place every November 1st, and All Souls' Day, which take place every November 2nd. Halloween, also known as All Hallows Eve, happens every October 31st and it is a solemnity. This means that for Halloween, Catholics need to go to Mass. All Hallows Eve went from a regular working holiday to a half-day thing in order for people to prepare going to the cemeteries the following 2 days. During November 1 and 2, those are treated as special non-working holidays, and the predominantly Catholic population would visit their ancestors' graveyards to pray for their ancestors' souls. Aside from the prayers, the graves are repaired, cleaned, and even painted over. This is also a time for families to bond, complete with picnics, music, and celebrations. Flowers and candles are offered to remember the dead, while the Filipino Chinese also offer up incense and incense paper for the same reason. All of this either before or after going to Mass. With Pangangaluluwa, it's a rather paradoxical mix between joyful and solemn. The joyful part stems from all the singing that the kids, teens, and even the adults dressed up in various costumes are doing. The singing resembles caroling, but the lyrics are prayers and remembrances towards the dead. Once the participants arrive at a home, they ask for prayers and sweets, with the latter usually in the form of rice cakes. The former is where the solemnity comes from, as everyone, participants and residents alike, join in the singing and praying. Prior to the arrival of the Spanish, the indigenous Filipinos had their own customs regarding the dead. Sometimes, this meant dressing up in white sheets, going house to house and pretend to be the dearly departed. All the Spanish did was simply add in Catholicism and the whole thing by adding in prayers for the dead and going to Mass. Pangangaluluwa takes place typically from October 27 to October 1st. As a tradition, it's on the decline due to the prevalence of American pop culture via social media, especially in the big cities such as Manila and Cebu City. I hope that with this video, the tradition gets revived one day after the current unmentionable. For the Filipino evangelicals and traditionalist Catholics who find Halloween to be objectionable all because of the dress-up, I do suggest to study what Halloween really is before passing judgment about it. At the same time, if you don't like Halloween, we have Pangangaluluwa. This is especially true for the more conservative-minded Filipino Catholics, as Pangangaluluwa is part of our culture and history. You guys can also use this opportunity to teach other people about Catholicism. As for sweets, you can add in rice cakes alongside the chocolates and candies. Make sure that those rice cakes are delicious so that people will come back for more. May you all have a happy Halloween and a joyful Pangangaluluwa. Please like, share, and subscribe to spread this video around.